Hi, Recap Master here. The story revolves around a family of 4 in which the mother and father constantly quarrel. The couple never really gets along. One evening, the mother, Mitsu, is trying to cut a fish. She finds it difficult because she hates the sight of blood. She asks her husband, Yoshiyuki, and children, Kenji and Yui, for help, but they all ignore her. Now frustrated, Mitsu tells her husband to talk to his children since the family's cell phone charges are getting too high. As usual, her opinion falls on deaf ears. The next day, Yoshiyuki wakes up late because his spoiled alarm. Realizing that he is late for work, he quickly rushes to take his bath and dress up. When he steps out, he asks his wife what the time is, but her answer is negative as the clock had stopped working over the night. She informs him about the power outage. Meanwhile, on hearing about the power outage, the only thing on Yui's mind is her phone, which she expected to have been charging over the night. But unfortunately, it hadn't been charging at all. Meanwhile, Kenji set his mind to finding the flashlight. After some time, he finds it, but all his efforts are in vain as the flashlight hadn't been charged too. However, after some failed efforts to know the time, Yoshiyuki resorts to just going to work, and Kenji and Yui follow him to the elevator. On getting to the elevator, they find out that the power outage had affected not only their apartment, but the whole building. This forces them to use the stairs. Unfortunately for them, their flat is on the 10th floor. After some time, they get to the ground floor. There, Yoshiyuki and his children go their separate ways. When he arrives at the subway, he realizes that the subway train isn't operating due to the lack of electricity. In order to reach his office on time, Yoshiyuki tries to board a taxi, but due to the same issue, all the cars are also non-functional. Now frustrated, he decides to walk to his office. Finally getting there, he sees a crowd at the entrance. Unfortunately, the electric door had failed them, so the workers decide to break the door. They eventually succeed in doing this, allowing the workers to gain entry. Shortly after, Yoshiyuki discovers that the computers aren't working. This forces the workers to carry out their activities manually. Shortly, a day off is announced, and the workers are advised to go back home. On the other hand, Mitsu goes to the supermarket to get some supplies for the family. Later that night, she notices that the stars are shining brighter than they usually do. Having seen this, she calls the rest of her family to see the stars with her. Surprisingly, while looking at the stars, Yoshiyuki tries to hold his wife's hand, but she moves it far away from his reach. This is shocking, seeing as they are always quarreling. 3 days pass without power supply, and water starts to get lesser and lesser in the Suzuki house. Meanwhile, schools are put on hold because teachers aren't able to come to class due to the lack of electricity, with the water in the community gradually reducing. In light of the recent events, Yoshiyuki's office gives its workers a compulsory vacation, and people and families start to leave the town in search of greener pastures. Later on, Yoshiyuki decides to withdraw some money. On getting to the bank, the queue isn't encouraging, but despite this, Yoshiyuki is determined to go through with what he had come to do, and tries to push his way through. While doing this, he is stepped on, and is very lucky to have escaped with his life. Meanwhile, due to the issues the members of the community are facing, a meeting is scheduled. At the meeting, the people deliberate on their next line of action. Apparently, there is no solution left except for everyone to try as much as they possibly can to survive. After the meeting, Yoshiyuki decides to take his wife and children to Kagoshima, Mitsue's town of origin. His children are reluctant to go. He, however, persuades them by shutting down any hope they have of electricity returning to their town. They all pack their belongings for their trip to Kagoshima, as the couple merges their savings, with hopes that they will be able to board a plane to Kagoshima. The next day, very early in the morning, they set out on bicycles so as to get to the airport. On their way to the airport, they see people selling bottles of water at outrageous prices. Some selling at 1,000 yen, while some sell it for 2,500 yen. Either way, the price isn't right for anyone to buy. Mitsu finally goes to buy some bottles of water. She negotiates with the man and gets one for 600 yen per bottle. Moving on, the family stops for some refreshments. Suddenly, Yui feels the urge to use the toilet, and so did Kenji. However, entering the toilet, they immediately run out due to its foul smell. Yui and Kenji are left with no other choice but to use the bushes. They finally arrive at the airport, but are shocked to see that all the planes are being used and are at full capacity. The airport security comes out to tell the crowd outside the airport that no one would be able to board any plane, further urging them to not waste their time trying to do so, and spend the time they have with their families and in search of food. After hearing this, Yoshiyuki takes his family to a nearby hotel. The hotel lacked basic necessities. With no other choice, Yoshiyuki pays for a room in the hotel. Now lodged, Yoshiyuki informs his family about the trip they are going to embark on. He tells them that they are going to have to travel to Kagoshima with their bicycles. His son cuts him short, saying it would take them about a month to get to Kagoshima riding their bicycle. The next day, while taking a stroll, Mitsue and Yoshiyuki see a rice shop. The woman in the rice shop happened to be trading her rice for water and other foodstuff. Mitsue and her husband rush into the shop to try and do some trade with the woman, and Yoshiyuki ends up trading his bottles of wine for a bag of rice and a bicycle. In the afternoon of the same day, Yoshiyuki and his family embark on a journey to the west. After some time struggling with the map, Yoshiyuki gives up. However, Mitsue takes the lead as they head to Tomei. On getting to Tomei, they decide to spend the night there. That night, Kenji notices someone trying to take a bottle of water from his mother's bag. He chases after the man but stops after understanding the reason for the theft. Apparently, the man had done so because of his wife and child. Realizing this, Kenji returns empty-handed. One more day passes, and Yoshiyuki and his family continue their journey. They reach a tunnel, where some old women offer to help them get to the other side, but Yoshiyuki rejects their offer. To him, the tunnel would be straightforward and easy to cross. However, after a failed attempt to reach the other side, Yoshiyuki is left with no choice but to ask for help. Fortunately, one of the old women offers to lead the way. They finally get to the other side of the tunnel, and as a sign of appreciation, Mitsue gives the old woman some meat. After 16 days without electricity, Yoshiyuki and his family decide to go to a nearby stream, since all the food and water they had finished. Out of thirst, and with no means of getting water, Yoshiyuki drinks the stream water, after which they continued their journey. Later that evening, it begins to rain, and Yoshiyuki and his family stop their bicycles and go under a bridge to seek shelter, leaving all their belongings in the rain. Shortly after, a violent wind blows their belongings and the bicycles to the ground. When the rain stops, they go to pick up what they can find, and discover that 2 of the bicycles had been destroyed by the wind, while all their belongings have been scattered across the road. Left with no other option, they go to a nearby town to get supplies. Mitsue and Yoshiyuki stay back to watch their belongings while Kenji and Yui go into the town to get the supplies. Luckily, Kenji and Yui find a supermarket, but getting inside, they realize that there is no food or water in the store. In order not to go back empty-handed, Kenji takes bottles of battery water and a flare, and Yui takes a canned cat food. In order to fix the bicycle tire, Kenji uses his phone's pouch. He cuts the pouch into pieces, and with the help of glue, is able to fix the tire. Now that the bicycles are fixed, Yoshiyuki and his family continue their journey. 22 days into the electricity tragedy, Yoshiyuki and his family get used to eating the canned cat food. Later that day, while pedaling towards their destination, they see a group of survivors. They stop and stare at the survivors for some time, due to the fact that the survivors looked like people that the power outage and scarcity of food and water had not affected. Kenji asks them what their secret is, and the survivors tell him that it is all just the survival techniques they had been using. Kenji, Yui, and Mitsue do not seem to understand what they are talking about, so the survivors explain further. They tell them about some edible weeds which they had found on their trip. After talking with them, one of the survivors takes a picture of them and requests for their address, so he would be able to post it to them. The survivors and Yoshiyuki family happen to be going the same way, but only for a brief distance as they will have to part ways at some point. Alongside the survivors, they continue their journey. A few miles ahead, they all stop to rest a little and are met by military troops. One of the survivors tries to inquire about what is going on, but isn't given the answer he wants. They, however, continue on their journey and eventually part ways. After 43 days of pedaling, they finally get to Osaka, their destination. Unfortunately for them, Osaka is just like other towns, with no electricity, food, or water. Yui can't hold back on her disappointment and gets angry at her dad. Kenji joins her, and not long after, Mitsue joins her children. They are all angry at the fact that their father didn't give any room for suggestions. Yoshiyuki asks his wife to lead the way to her village, Kagoshima, but as they are about to leave, they notice a huge feast. The members of the town had broken into the aquarium and taken out all the fish, which served as the main source of the feast. Without wasting much time, the family joins the queue to get some food to eat. Unfortunately for them, the food finishes before it gets to their turn. In desperation, Yoshiyuki goes on his knees and starts begging the person that is giving out the food. He pleads to be given little food for his children to eat, but the man tells him no. This makes Yoshiyuki bend his head and start crying. Seeing the pitiful state of their father, Kenji and Yui console him. Shortly after, they continue on their journey towards Kagoshima. On the 67th day, the family comes across a farm. They notice a pig in the farm and decide to chase it. Using a rope, Yoshiyuki successfully strangles the pig. Yet again, the issue of who would cut the pig into pieces arises. Just then, the owner of the farm, who happens to be the owner of the pig, helps them cut the pig's head. They help the farmer in carrying the pig to the farmer's house. On getting to there, they get to drink good water for the first time in a very long time. The farmer offers them food to eat, and they are relieved to finally eat good food. As they eat, the farmer pleads with them to help him find the remaining pigs, further stating that they can stay for as long as they want, if they can assist him in the farm. They stay with the man for a week before finally continuing their journey. However, the day before they leave, the man asks if it is possible for them to stay with him until the whole power outage issue ends. But Yoshiyuki rejects the offer, saying that they had to go to their hometown in Kagoshima. The man gives them some meat and food supplies to sustain them throughout their journey. A few days into the journey, Yoshiyuki and his family encounter a roadblock. In order to cross over, Yoshiyuki makes a raft out of the wood he finds by the roadside. After making the raft, he tells his wife and daughter to get on it, while he and his son help to sail the raft to the other side. Although they still have to come back in order to get their belongings, they sailed back and put the bicycles alongside other belongings on the raft. Halfway across the river, the raft starts failing. It capsizes and one of the bicycles covers Yoshiyuki, as he appears to have drowned and his body floating down the river. His family starts panicking while Kenji chases after his father. Unfortunately, Kenji can't seem to find his dad. After a while, Mitsu and her children give up and continue with the journey. On the rail tracks, Yui gives a stray dog some meat. Her action results in more stray dogs coming after them for meat, which had been put in a bag held by their mother. Sensing this, the dogs drag the meat from Mitsu, leading her to fall. She injures her leg and is unable to walk without assistance. Fortunately for them, a train stops and carries Mitsu and her children. Meanwhile, Yoshiyuki seems to be alive, as he leaves the river and goes to a farm to rest. On hearing the sound of the train, Yoshiyuki light up a flare. Kenji notices the flare and tells the man in charge to stop the train. Shortly after, Kenji and Yui run outside in order to see their father alive. They assist him to get on the train and are shocked to see their father and mother get along. The train eventually stops at Kagoshima, and the family is happy to have finally gotten to their destination. 2.5 years later, the village alarm goes off. This happens to be the first time the alarm had ever sounded since the electricity saga. Later on, all the lights in the village turn on. The lights aren't just coming back on in the village alone, but around country. With this, they realize that the electricity saga has finally come to an end, and everyone can go about their normal lives with ease. If you enjoyed this movie recap, please like the video and comment below what movie we should recap next. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, then make sure to subscribe.